Hi, we are super excited that you are here today. I'm Iksan and I'm a supply chain financier at the Coca-Cola Euro Pacific Indonesia. I would like to officially welcome you to ICA Global Case Competition 2024. Thank you for joining us today. Before we dive in this study case, I would like to speak to you directly about the challenge that we face in our supply chain today. That is ethics and the sustainability. In today's world, products we are used are not made in one place. A phone, a laptop, even a simple toothbrush might connect us to worker factory and resources spread across the continent. And the green tech innovation, as an example in this study case, a tech company is part of this vast network. Yet, all the innovation and efficiency that global supply chain can offer, they also carry a risk that are easy to ignore but hard to escape once exposed. And the green tech learned this the hard way. And this is part when a report emerged that the green tech supplier in the Southeast Asia faced severe allegation on the poor working condition and the environmental damage. News spread quickly, and suddenly a company known for the ethics and the sustainability found itself under a dark cloud of the suspicion. Customer and investor lost faith and the sales go down the hill. It sounds a familiar story that intertwined together like a two faces in the same coin, where the people want the ethical product, but they struggle to trust the companies that make them. And now, green tech face a question that many companies will eventually have to answer. So there is a question: how come a green tech makes sure that every part of the supply chain meets the highest standard its value? Or how can it rebuild the trust with the customer and the investor who expect not just a good product, but the ethical one? This is not just a green tech issue. I believe it's a modern challenge in every company today. Supply chains are essential, but often hidden and fragile, carrying a risk that we need to manage responsibly. So we need the solution to rebuilding the green tech supply chain with a purpose and to turn the crisis into the opportunity. It begins by looking at every step in the supply chain, mapping its supplier in green tech, and identifying of its key processes. It wasn't about the control, but it's about the understanding where the weakest link were and the strengthening them. In this case, we define a solution for the green techs to introduce a supplier code of conduct, engage the local stakeholder, and offer the training for the supplier on the ethical standard. In doing so, it transforms a fractured supply chain into one that a green tech could rely on. And so, this presentation in overall will walk through the green tech journey from the crisis to clarity based on the defined solution that we designed for them. It's about more than just fixing a mistake, but it's about reshaping the future of the green tech business as well. As well, still managing supply chain ethically is not just about preventing harm, but it's about building the trust, showing responsibility, and leading with the transparency in the world where the people expect nothing less about it. So please take a few minutes to settle in and get ready to see how is our proposed solution to green tech innovation could prepare them facing the future today. By this, I would like to pass on the presentation to my colleagues at the Institute Technology Bandung, Indonesia, to further explaining the turnaround journey of the green tech innovation in the supply chain. We'll get started soon. See you.
Before we present, I would like to introduce my team, me, Amelia Adining Tias, and together with Isa Nurdiansah, Widodo, and Iza Ramadhani Fitra. In this case, we will map out all the supply chain components, including direct and indirect supplier, such as design and engineering, primary material, smelter and refinery, direct components, final assembly, logistic, retail store, services, support, and recycling. The due diligence process will provide us supplier guideline principle and SGP audit for waste management. Assessment standard. To maintain high standard, we have developed a strict assessment standard for green tech. We've built an assessment system that monitors performance and protect the people and environment behind every component. The assessment reveals minor issues like missing records, which easily fixed. But on more serious violations like underage labor or unsafe conditions, we will treat the supplier on probation until they address the issues. This assessment ensures that suppliers meet our code of conduct and align with international standards. Next, assessment and due diligence process. Green tech assessment process is thorough and fair. We review documents, inspect sites, and conduct private interviews with employees in their native language with the help from auditor. This comprehensive approach will allow us to identify and support improvement, ensuring the standard be upheld. From the serious violation, the remedies are proposed in this presentation to address the issue.
We will explain setting standards for social and environmental risks. We go beyond compliance to embed human rights and environmental protection across our supply chain. GreenTech Supplier Code of Conduct is based on international standards like those of the UN, the International Labour Organization. This standard focus on essential area including labor rights, safety, environmental stewardship, and ethical management. Our commitment is to build a supply chain that is safe, fair, and sustainable for all.
In the next discussion, we will discuss Case 4, GreenTech's approach to improvement. At GreenTech, they don't just assess suppliers, they work closely to drive continuous improvement. The assessments provide a snapshot, but GreenTech also gathers feedback from experts and civil society to adapt the practices. GreenTech publicly reports the progress on critical issues like human rights and sustainability. GreenTech holds its supplier accountable from design to recycling, ensuring that all partners align with the evolving standards. Okay, the next slide also will align with the presentation of Case 4, which is holding suppliers accountable to the Code of Conduct. GreenTech ensure compliance with the Code of Conduct through regular assessments. These involve interviews with management, document reviews, private employee interviews, and site walkthrough to check for safety and environmental practice. By holding the accountable suppliers and providing corrective support, GreenTech strives to uphold the highest standards across our supply chain, protecting both people and also the planet.
The importance of due diligence reflect on this model. This model emphasizes that suppliers' assessment and cooperation in sustainable supply chain management significantly influenced by buyer action. So the supplier will follow what the buyers do. If the buyer or company doesn't do the due diligence, so did the supplier. This is the hidden problem in the future. Okay, next. Cost efficiency and ethical practice, an RFID-based system approach. Balancing cost efficiency and ethical issues by using radio frequency identifications. Since the supplier from GreenTech from worldwide, different nations, this is a good fit that to collect the data fast, accurate, and accountable. While the benefit using RFID show in these presentations, emphasize that this will improve the ethical product by delivering the good product and give them the latent concept of customer their loyalty to buy ethical product from GreenTech. Then next, challenges in enforcing standard. Here we identify the challenges in enforcing the standard. First, perceiveness of standard meaningfulness. Supplier tend to see that the new standard as the indicator to review the performance. Good performance will be awarded by buyer, bad performance of supplier will be punished by the buyer. So the solution is to make a mutual benefit between supplier and buyer. The next problem we identified is stakeholder involvement, as people see the standard as a forced direction from higher level to lower level. We propose to open the participatory and representative discussions between company. And then the last problem we identified is process unequalization. The big profit will go to the big company in the wealth nations since they give the biggest revenue. So we propose a profit sharing model. And then the next is stakeholder engagement. We divided stakeholder into three types. The first, principal stakeholder, consists of customer, shareholder, GreenTech people, and communities. From this principal stakeholder, the main interest is to make a good harmonies in running the business by involvement and inclusivity in their activities. The second, the parties which have an interest in the business, they are supplier and government. From these parties, the main interest is how to align with government policy and supplier code of conduct. So the business runs smoothly by their support. The last one is from the professional and academic expert. The main interest is how to get the insightful knowledge from them. So using that knowledge, the company will do continuous improvement in the company.
I will explain a real world where companies face issue due to lack of supply chain due diligence. First, I will explain Toyota problem. The global chip crisis began. The COVID-19 pandemic disrupted semiconductor production and supply chain. Automakers, example Toyota, initially reduced order due to expected decline in demand in COVID-19. However, demand the cars and consumer electronic subject competition to the chip. Next problem in Apple. Apple faced criticism for environmental pollution caused by the supply chain and product design, which is increased electronic waste. And the third problem in Indonesia, in Indofood. The case of employee abuse at Indofood involved report physical, verbal abuse, as well as extremely high workload in the company factory. Workers complain yaitu about insulted, beaten, pressure in production. Next, I will explain a benefit for a company that invests due diligence and sustainable practices. First, benefit for the company. First, increase efficiency and cost saving. Second, enhance customer satisfaction. Third, improve the collaboration and communication. Next, competitive advantage and adaptability to changing market condition. And benefit for labor is zero victims for forced labor. Is its initiative or commitment to eliminate modern slavery and forced labor in a company's supply chain. The goal is ensure to no worker is forced under trade violence, intimidation, and inhuman working condition. And benefit for environmental, yaitu zero deforestation and pollution environmental is a commitment to prevent destruction forest and reduce environmental pollution in a business operation. The goal is eliminate yaitu deforestation such as illegal and unstable agricultural, and minimize the pollution from industrial process and waste and emission.
Case 11, GreenTech approach to maintain continuous improvement. In this discussion, we will focus on how GreenTech maintains the implementation of continuous improvement. The adoption of planning, organizing, actuating, and controlling, or we call it as POAC, will be relevant to the concept of management. They are intertwined and cannot be separated. Thus, it is a cyclic process, or we call it as a never-ending process. The ability to keep controlling the due diligence process, it will create innovation or improvement. If GreenTech is willing to do so, then continuous improvement can be implemented. The approach that GreenTech could use is start from visualization of the progress of the performance indicator, start to do the analytics of the data, do the committee meeting or invite all the board to have the meeting, and finally implementing the agreed consolidation based on the review meeting. By that, it could help it maintain continuous improvement in the GreenTech company. Right now, as the information technology is growing rapidly, tools such as Monday, Trello, Jira, and so on could track ongoing compliance and improvement in the supply chain management. Next, we are going to the case 12, which is global standards and guidelines. The standard that used in the due diligence process, such as OECD or Organization for Economic Cooperation and Development Due Diligence Guidance and UN Guiding Principle on Business and Human Rights, become the reference to comply with the aspect given by the OECD Business and Human Rights Principle. While the OECD more focused on comprehensive aspect of business and economy, UN Guiding Principle on Business and Human Rights will primarily focus on human rights and business. Implementing these two aspects will be beneficial to expand the company's market share. We know that most continents in the world set requirements to comply with those standards. If, let's say, the company can comply, then it will help the company to penetrate the product or services to the market. This is a long-term investment that mostly will have high returns. Let's go to the case 13, which is the reflection questions, the impact on unethical practices in supply chain. In this case discussion, we would like to emphasize that the impact of unethical practices in the supply chain. There is a research growing right now about the perception from the customer side. Whenever there is an information digested by the customers, let's say the company do the unethical practices heard by the customer, this stimuli will be processed through the customer's perception, and it could create a long-term perception. We should avoid this poor perception because we don't want our customer to have a bad perception about the company that unethically runs their operation. This will also have a long-term impact on the company's image and reduce the opportunity to compete in the market. So, that's all the presentation from our team, and We hope that this presentation are well delivered to you all. Thank you.